Hi, so I've just taken a break for the last 3 months, and in today's video, I'm just going to explain basically what's been going on over the last 3 months. So, as you might have been able to tell, I'm in a different room. So, I've just moving out. Well, 3 months ago, I moved out for the first time. But when I moved out, I was 28 years old, but it was like almost a month before, 1 or 2 months before um, my 29th birthday, so I'm 29 now. And so, yeah, I moved out quite late, like around 28, 29 years old. Um, yeah, and I just needed a lot has been going on. So I think in today's video, I just want to give like an overview of basically what's been going on over the last 10 years. Some of it's going to be eyesight related as well, but I don't know if I'll cover everything in today's video, but I'll do as much as I can. But basically, I grew up with Indian parents, like, and you'll see this quite common in like South Asian cultures and South Asian parents, where a lot of like South Asians, well, people who are born in like, well, for me, I'm born in the UK, so I'm just talking from people who are born like in a Western country with South Asian parents. They tend to live with their parents a lot, and it can cause a lot of like mental health issues and like problems because how do you even get the motivation to like do anything? And so for the last 10 years, I've just been like struggling with a lot of like obstacles, and I've basically been trapped living with my parents for a decade. Not that like it's not like I enjoyed living there. It's just that there were so many obstacles that I had to overcome just to even be able to move out. Like, for example, when I did move out, I didn't bring in all of my stuff. There's some stuff I left, and obviously my parents found out. I didn't. I had to move out literally in secret, like during the night, because they were. I knew they were going to physically stop me, and later on they did. But when I went back to collect some of the remainder of my stuff, they blocked the driveway with their car, and so I couldn't drive out. And they locked me, like physically locked me in the house, and I had to call the police just to escape. And stuff like this has been going on for literally years, where they would do. Although most of the control was psychological, there was like physical like control as well, like what I just described. And I only really learned until I was 27 years old that I was actually very heavily malnourished. I was very deficient in a lot of nutrients because so I grew up in a Sikh household, and in the Sikh, well, in a very religious Sikh household. In Sikhism promotes a lacto-vegetarian diet. So if you go to like a Sikh temple, that's the diet they promote, like no eggs, no meat. So like largely vegetarian. And subconsciously, as a kid growing up, I knew like meat was important. Like it wasn't like I never ate meat ever. Like sometimes like during school meals, whatever, I'd have like meat, but it wasn't like a regular staple in my diet because I just didn't have the access. And subconsciously, I knew like, okay, I need some meat. I need something to get stronger because I just felt like this kind of like laziness over me, but I didn't fully like connect all the dots that it was actually like part of it was attributed to the diet because I never heard anyone talk about it. And then when I was around 18, 19 years old, veganism became very popular. And when veganism became popular, I just sort of thought, well, maybe I should do this because I was already like a vegetarian to begin with. Because initially I thought like when people talk about meat, they usually focus on like the importance of like protein for like muscle building. But then when a lot of the YouTubers I was following, they were vegans and they were quite muscular. So I thought, well, maybe my initial perception of like meat and animal products, maybe that was wrong. So I believe like I believe the vegan ideology and the vegetarian ideology that you can do really well on like a vegetarian or vegan diet. But I wasn't doing too well. I was suffered from a lot of brain fog, memory issues, poor concentration, a lot of anxiety, just generally feeling weak, low self-esteem for years and years and years. And I only discovered it at the age of 27, and I had to pay £16,000 to a brain expert who would later become more mental, would help me like recover from, because that's how bad it got. Now there were other issues as well that were going on, but I'll cover that later. But basically, my mind had deteriorated so much that it basically felt like I was mentally handicapped. Like I couldn't do a whole lot. That was like the one aspect of it. The other aspect of it was also like the stress. So like so for example, I wanted to move out. If I challenged my dad, he'd try and molest me or like try and chop my head off. And so I was like constantly in a state of fear. Like my fear levels were so high that my hair would turn white and or I'd get like paralyzed, like my whole body was like shaking and I'd freeze up. And I would get stuck in that state of perpetual like mental confusion for like years and years and years. So for example, normally like the thought process that goes into one's brain, like when they're in their 20s and say they're unemployed, is okay, I need to get a job so that I can make money, so that I can move out and get like a car and everything. However, that like aspect of thought was being manipulated by my parents. So just a little background. So I grew up with a very wealthy upbringing. So I grew up with rich parents. So my father's like a multi-millionaire. He owns like over 70 properties. My mom was like a stay-at-home mom. So she never really had a job since I was born, and I'm the oldest, and I'm 29 now. Um, and yeah, so my father, he owns like a construction company and like a property company. But my relationship with my parents was like very confusing. It's not like you think like they would help you like get into property and do it's very like complicated, and I think I need to do like a separate video on that. But for like years, my life was just like I was literally forced into basically slavery for like a decade. Like, so for example, my father would force me to work for him for years for like a decade, and he would refuse to pay me. Like if I challenge him, oh, I want to get paid. He'd be like, why do you want to get paid? And then I said, well, I want to move out. I want to get like a girlfriend. And then he says, oh, you want to get those white girlfriends? All the white women are whores and prostitutes. Um, and so he would like shut down that train of thought, or like any time I would show any sign of independence at all, like anything, he would like shut it down. And so it was difficult growing up, like where I couldn't really do anything. And eventually, like so, when I was around 17, I think 17 years old, I was doing like A levels, and I didn't do well. I got like D's and E's, but I wasn't like that affected by it because I sort of while I was doing my A levels, um, and A levels, for those you don't know, for those who are American, they're basically exams you do between the age of 16 and 18 to get to university. So I was around like 16, 17 years old in my first year of A levels, and I didn't do too well. I got D's and E's, and um, basically, yeah. So while I was doing it, I knew that I was just going to do an apprenticeship because apprenticeships you can get pretty like if you're between the age of 16 and 18, you're much easier. Like it's pretty easy to get an apprenticeship if you got good GCSEs. Like they don't really care that much about A levels. And my GCSEs were like 5 A's, 2 B's, and 3 C's. And I was just like intuitively, I felt like really confident. Like I knew I was gonna get like an apprenticeship, and I was thinking of becoming like an accountant. So before I was thinking of becoming an accountant, while I was doing my A levels, I was being programmed, manipulated by my parents. So my parents would basically say, "Oh, you have to become a doctor," like the stereotypical like Indian doctor thing. And so I got like work experience in like Tanzania for like medistry. I wasn't sure between medicine or like dentistry, so I had like both. But my A levels weren't that good, so I was like, okay, I need to change, like become like an accountant or something. And that's what I wanted to do. But my dad like shut it off completely. He was like, no, you have to go and become a doctor. Like you're not allowed to do what you want to do. We control your life. And again, because I was so malnourished then, I wasn't aware, but basically I was very like easy to manipulate. Also because of the age, because like when you're young, your brain's like very like easy to easy to manipulate because you're not like you haven't really experienced like adulthood yet. And hang on one sec. Yeah, so basically he made me retake my A levels. He'd send me to like a private school, and so I went to like this private school, and I failed again. And I was still around like I think now I was like 17, 18 years old now, and I still knew like okay I could still get the apprenticeship because of my age, and so I was like okay I'm gonna try again, and my dad was like nope, you're gonna retake again. and so I retake again. And this time it was rather than 1 year, it was 2 years because you had to do the whole like A levels at the end of the second year, not the like before it was you do AS first year, then A2 the second year. For me, so now I had to do like both of those exams at the end of the second year. So I had to spend an extra 2 years. So in total, I spent 4 years doing A levels when A levels are like a 2 year course, and I failed again. And so the main reason I failed was mainly because of stress from my parents, because they're like constantly like threatening me and all that. Very heavily malnourished, like the diet played a big role, and also I was heavily addicted to pornography, mainly because of constant shaming. Like whenever it came to like dating girls or whatever, Indian parents manipulate your mind, like shame you and say, "Oh, you need to study, study, study." Like ignore women, and that created like an unhealthy relationship. That was like one of the. There's like I can go deep into it, but it's kind of 11 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I can go deep into it, but I'll do it like another time. So yeah, so I left school at like 20, and then after that, I would just do like a bunch of like, I wouldn't really progress in life at all. Like basically, my dad would force me to work for his company, and I would basically do like digging ditches, like painting and decorating, um, some accounting related stuff, mowing the lawn. I think that's basically what I did. Like I never like these were all just like random jobs that my dad would force me to do because I'm not married, and I couldn't do anything about it because I was like so heavily malnourished. And back then, after the age of 20, I had a massive like low self esteem, I had massive insecurities, felt massive like abandonment and loneliness. I was just very insecure, abandoned, and alone because like all my friends went to university and I was like abandoned. I was just like left behind. And so the other option was like, okay, go join the military. So I went and tried to join the military, and I basically got banned because my dad then drugged me with antipsychotics, and with the army they do like a background medical test, and they basically found out like, oh, you got a history of like antipsychotics, yeah, you can't join. And the drugs basically like my brain was already deteriorating from the diet as the years went by, but this was just like on a whole new level. This is like when I experienced like true like real depression, where I couldn't feel like I had like no motivation for anything. I was just like a zombie, and I was just like gone, like mentally, like you're not even human anymore. You can't feel nothing. You just like you might as well be dead at that point. Um, and basically I experienced also like side effects from the drugs where I basically died, and the paramedics came and they revived me, pretty much. But and the only solution from that point, like I was doing research on how I can like reverse all of this, and that's when I found out like the brain expert. I don't want to mention who he is, mainly because he's now like sort of like my competitor in business. And what I mean by that is he has like a memory improvement course online. He's like a brain expert and he's like a memory expert. And what I'm trying to do with my business is, even though my business is like eyesight related, improving eyesight can also improve memory. And I don't want to give like free advertising to him until someone like buys my course. That's sort of like the strategy I'm going along with it. Um, so from storytelling perspective, I'm just gonna say like he's like a brain expert, like a memory expert. I'll reveal him like if once my course is like uploaded and everything, and like people buy the course, like his name would be on the course, and so people can, because even though mine's like an eyesight improvement course, my course, if I was to market it as like a memory improvement course, it can't compete against his, because his is like specifically memory improvement, so it's like the best. So, but still at the same time, I'd rather people buy my course before they find out about his. But anyway, going back to the story, so I went onto the mentorship program. Like he was like a brain expert, and he basically helped me like reverse the effects of the drugs. He gave me like a couple of herbs, changed my diet. Like that was like a big one, and also like I had to change my like mindset, because my mindset was like completely unemployable. Like for years, like I was basically literally unemployed, forced into slavery for my dad's company, and the only promise that my dad had was if I was to work for him for years, which was around, it was actually technically around 7 years, not 10, but whatever. And up until like 27 years old, he he basically said that if I worked for him for 7 years, that he'll give me like properties, like 6 properties, like basically 6 apartments, which is like one whole building, which he did. But again, there was like this whole, like the whole setup of it is like really like strange. Like for example, when he gave it to me, like I thought it was like a gift, but then it turned out to be like a loan. But there's no clear agreement on how the loan repayment is going to work. Is it interest free, or is it has got interest on it? Is there like there's no? It's like, and then he would like, once he gave it to me, he would take all of my rental income. He would like embezzle money from my business to his, and there was just like so many like crazy stuff going on. I'll go into more detail in another video, but yeah, there was just like a whole, like the whole thing was like hectic. And then yeah, so I basically didn't know what I wanted to do with my life for like in my 20s. So I thought like, um, okay, maybe I'll try with the eyesight thing. Maybe I'll try and make that work. Invest in like various different digital marketing companies. Invest in like a company called Outrank, Let's Level Up, a company called Unitel. In total, I invested about 15 grand. Lost all of it. Got no clients from it, and now I'm like starting over. And that's basically one of the reasons why I'm making this video, because I want to like document like the whole progress from like start to finish, or like me like fully regain my eyesight, and but more so like talk about like the broader aspect of it as well. Um, and yeah, so basically now what I'm trying to do is just I want to just like document, like I was doing this before where I was doing like daily uploads of strain awareness, like releasing strain like day by day. But back then I was living with my parents, and it was just too stressful and too chaotic, and like I literally didn't have the ability to even think for myself. Like literally, I've only now just been able to like learn how to think for myself the last 3 months, and my mind's actually become a lot clearer. Like I got rid of a lot of like back in my old house, my parents' house had like a bunch of like rubbish, like stuff, and I would like because I didn't know what stuff I needed and what I didn't, like I couldn't organize it there, so I'd bring all this stuff from like in my room, bring it here, and then like donate like 90% of it. Like I'll look at all the stuff, like a lot of stuff like clothes, books, like random, well, some random documents I had to like throw in the trash, like so I had to like throw a bunch of like documents in the trash. I had to like donate like a bunch of like clothes and like books, just basically becoming more like minimalistic, just because I needed that like mental clarity. And I made a lot of progress. Like literally, I struggled like organizing my room for literally a decade, and then within 3 months of moving out, I've done probably about 95% of it. Like it's all completely done, like 95% completely organized. And my mind's a lot clearer. So like that's I think I would say like a big chunk of my brain fog that I struggled with for like literally a decade is now gone, just thanks to like moving out and like getting the diet. But it was so difficult for me to move out because my brain didn't become like an adult brain just because like I turned 18. Like my brain was still craving like love, acceptance, approval from my parents. And because my parents don't want me to move out, psychologically I was just like, well, what am I supposed to do then? Like, what if I can't move out? Like anyone else, like their parents want them to move out, so they have that motivation to get a job. Like, oh, I need to get a job so I can move out and live on my own. But if you're like, if you just like living with your parents, like I don't see how anyone could like even motivate themselves to do anything. Like you would just be like lazy, you wouldn't do anything. And for years I was just, it wasn't like wasn't doing anything. I was like forced into slavery for years. Now I'm sort of in like a good position because like my dad sort of kind of fulfilled on his promise, because even though I wasn't getting paid through those like 7 years, well, I usually say 10 years because I should have, um, because I moved out at 28 when usually most people move out at 18, so it's like a 10-year period, and also because I retake my A levels when I didn't want to, like I was forced into it, literally like against my will, and if I didn't, like I would like die or get molested. Um, that's been like an extra 2 years. So if you do like the math, it's more like a 10. So that's why like usually I say like 10 years because like easier and quicker to say, like it's more marketable. Um, but anyway, yeah. So that's basically the whole story. So I got banned from joining the military because my dad drugged me with antipsychotics. He tried to chop my head off multiple times. I had to survive. He tried to molest. He didn't actually molest me, but he tried like multiple times. Um, I was like very heavily malnourished. Like I was like basically brain dead. Um, just like there was a lot of like shame and humiliation around like a lot of like this was going back literally to since childhood. Like he was telling me like, oh, you're worthless. You should kill you. Like my earliest memory as a child is just my dad telling me like, oh, you should just kill yourself. You don't deserve to live. Like so, I never built self esteem. Like like never no confidence, no self esteem. So I was basically like a delayed adulthood. Like when everyone else, they were able to get because they had amazing parents, they were able to become an adult a lot quicker, like late teens, like early 20s. When me, like, it took me years later. Now, at the same time, I've sort of been able to catch up because and now at the age of 29, in terms of what I do, like, okay, even though my job, like, what I do is like, I'm a parcel sorter at a company called Yodel or like Impost. Basically, a bigger company called Impost owns Yodel. So some people call it like Impost or some people call it Yodel. It's a minimum wage job, but and like a temporary contract, but it's not that too bad because I also make money through like properties. So my dad like he gave me like 6 apartments, like the whole building. So and like before he was like taking money from me, like he was embezzling it, and it was only since like throughout this is what I've been doing through the last 3 months, like moving out, like clearing out, like donating a bunch of stuff, like organizing everything. But I also had to get like a lawyer to stop him from like stop the embezzlement, and I had to get like my own accountant because my dad's accountant was doing my accounts, and he was signing off on them like in my name when I hadn't even agreed, like I never authorized him to do it, which is illegal. But even though it's illegal, he wouldn't even get into trouble with it. Like when I was looking for legal advice, he would basically just get away with it, which is kind of messed up. Basically, the law would just say, "Oh, you just fix it," and at that point, it's just better to get a new accountant. So I got like a new accountant. I had to get like a new accountant. Um, I got a lawyer, and right now I'm in the works of getting like a new property manager. But again, it's like very like there's something like complicated aspects of it because it's not like I would like it to be like easy, like that can like fully transition into a new property manager. But then there are things like my property manager right now, like with like preventing me from like accessing certain documents like tenancy agreements and doing like shady stuff. It just makes it like difficult. But I'm like right now I'm in the process of like getting full control of it. I've done like 2/3 of it. Like I've got like my own accountant and lawyer, and now it's just like the property manager aspect that I'm like resolving at the moment, which will be done maybe like at the end of this month. So within 3 months since I've moved out, I would have like full control of it and like basically stop my dad from gaining any control of my life. And yeah, and he would also like when he was embezzling money from me, he would like blackmail me and say, "Oh, you can only get the money if you marry the woman I choose, like from India," because he wants to control me through a. He's also like very racist. He thinks all like white women are whores and prostitutes, kind of like similar with like the Pakistani like grooming gangs thing, because that's what they believe. And yeah, and I mean, my dad's got like a shady past. Like he got banned from India because he was like part of a terrorist gang. All his friends died, like, and he escaped from jail. Like he was on death row, like he was supposed to get executed, but like all his friends got executed, but he managed to escape and like move to UK. I was born out of rape as well. And, like there's like there's like a lot of like crazy stuff going on, and I only got my first like real full time job on the 16th of September 2025. That's when I got my first full time job. That's when I got my job at Yodel. Before then, I was literally a slave to my dad. Like literally, it forced me to do like work for him, which is what I describe like bookkeeping stuff. I was lowing the lawn for like his various properties, digging ditches, doing like painting and decorating stuff, doing like just like random odd jobs that I don't want to do. And yeah, I was stuck. Like I couldn't do anything about it because if I challenge him, near death experience. And then eventually ended up actually dying with the like the whole drugs thing and having to be revived and then having to pay 16 grand to like reverse the brain damage. It's just like it's been like a whole crazy thing. And with the eyesight thing, I've been trying to do that, like trying to do the eyesight thing at home. But basically, what's been going on is like I talked about not having the ability to think for myself at home. What I mean by that is, so basically with my parents, they think they don't see anything wrong with me asking them for money, which is very unethical because when you're an adult, you're supposed to become financially independent. It's like very strange if you're an adult and you're financially dependent on your parents or you're asking them for money, and they don't see anything wrong with it. They just see, oh, if like my dad sees it as if he's a multimillionaire, then I'm a multimillionaire. I just ask him for money, whatever, and that's not like attractive. Like that's not my money. Like he has this weird, like he doesn't have like a strong mind. Like he's very like all over the place. Like he doesn't provide like there's no consistency in him at all. Like you can never know what to predict from him. He's like very chaotic. And so my thought process with like employment, what I should do, would steer away from employment. So for example, when I got my first full time job at 28 years old at Yodel, my parents would like shame me like, oh, you know, you need to quit right now. You can't work at the job. You need to quit. You put shame to the family, and you need to work at this electrical company. Basically, he knew like an electrician, but he wasn't like a qualified electrician, which is illegal. He was like practicing as an electrician, but he's not qualified. Oh, you need to work for him, and you're gonna have to work for him for free, so you can gain work experience for like a year, and then you can move. Like he would do this thing with like he would do this thing with same with like when I wanted to become an accountant, he'd force me to work for like a company for free for like years. Never amounted to anything. Literally, like I was literally being manipulated, exploited, like forced into slavery for years. And the only solution, the only way I was able to escape was through meat. Like meat literally saved my life. Meat and also like the mindset, like because I needed like a shift in my mindset. Like my mindset was like unemployable. Like I couldn't get a job with the mindset I had, and I needed. That's where the mentorship came in. So the mentorship helped with like the mindset, the diet thing, and also like getting off like the drugs, like reversing those effects. And I did that at the age of I think 27. At 27, yeah, that's why I went on the mentorship program. It's been like almost like 2 years now, um, throughout that period. So yeah, and hopefully now that I've moved out, it should be a lot easier now for me to do like the whole eyesight thing, because my plan is I just want to like upload videos on like my progress with my eyesight, and I don't want to focus on the business anymore. Like originally I wanted to do like the whole like online business thing. Like I wanted to create like I wanted to like get sales and like do all of that, but like because I got scammed, I lost like 15 grand. It's just like I don't really think it's even worth it. Like I basically need to start all over again. I might even need to like build like a new website or something because like on my website right now it's basically being held hostage by like a digital marketing company. Like they were just held hostage now, basically. Um, and so I might need to like start all over again. But I think now that I'm away from my parents, because all these problems, all these like getting scammed, being manipulated, exploited, it all comes from my parents, like all of it. Now that I'm away from them, it should be a lot easier, like in terms of like reaching my goals and all that. In terms of the vision that I have for this business, I don't want to it's not just like an eyesight thing. I want to set it as like a transformational thing where I'm selling like the whole like nerd athlete transformation where like fully regain my eyesight, like an identity shift. And I think it might be even a good idea for me to even record like my fitness progress, like getting jacked and everything, because I'm packaging the whole thing into one course. So right now I'm gonna stay away from the sales aspect of it right now. I just want to take a break from it. So I'm not gonna like sell you like a course right now. And in the future I will. But in the beginning stages, I want to like develop myself. I want to just like do YouTube videos just about like me improving my eyesight and fully regaining it and like getting jacked. And then once I've reached that goal, then I want to sell the course because then I'll be in a better place and I'll be like more comfortable like selling it. So that's my strategy right now. I'm gonna go back into because I've taken a break from the eyesight thing because I was dealing with like the whole moving out thing and controlling like the business. But now that's all like settled down. Um, Now I'm gonna go back into the eyesight thing, but I should be a lot more successful in consistency now. So I'm gonna just continue off from there, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll do like daily uploads, and I'll go back to like the strain awareness things, like releasing the strain, and I'll do like fitness videos as well because it's like one whole thing. It's like this isn't just like an eyesight thing. This is like a nerd, like athlete transformation, and I want to like package it and market it that's the product. That's what I'm selling. So that's like the brand approach that I'm going with. But yeah, like at the moment, I'm not really like I'm not gonna focus on selling right now. I was planning. I did want to do that first. I wanted to like sell the course while doing like these videos. Now like I'm just too tired. Like with how much money I've lost, like invested into this, like 15 grand. I'd rather just like take a break, like from the sales aspect from it now, like and just get back to it like maybe like a year from now. Like in a year from now, once I've got like I want to put on 10 kilograms of muscle mass. I don't know if I can do that in a year, but I'll try and I'll try and put like some target in. Um, and then like I should I think I could probably fully regain if I really stay consistent. I think I might be able to fully regain my eyesight within a year. So I'll basically do that. Um, yeah. Um, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. I think that's it for today.